Well, you can have 11, 13 children, and those children all grow up well balanced, but experience has shown that large families work, but the parents always seem to regret not having spent more time with each child. That's getting away from the point of, I think it's always best to reduce the size of the families if you're warned about it early enough, and when you get married and before you get married, the consequences of having a family and your responsibilities.
Really rich people, like in Australia and America and wealthy countries, like they'd pay a lot of money for like foreign babies, and like lots of people would, but they make it so difficult to adopt and like help like that. Yeah.
I think there's many horrible ideas of how a population could be addressed, and I'm not really behind any of them, but I do think that, carefully planning your life and your families. Don't go sort of having tons of children without planning to take care of them, and when I say take care of them, I don't just mean feeding and clothing them, making sure that you're raising children that are well educated. So we all, it's very cliche to say that children are the future, but they really are, and it's our responsibility to educate them from day one, not just about the simple ways of the world and the morals of right and wrong, but the holistic way of looking at our economy, the ecology, the environment, all of the above, and just the political nature of the world too. There's never a simple solution. So education and communication are the number one, and I think that many parts of the world, family is marketed through religion and in some cases through mainstream marketing commercial channels, but I think that it's worth looking at marketing a higher quality of life for a smaller population, and really taking care of the people we have now before we start piling tons more people in just because we've been told we should. So again, I'd love to emphasize that I'm a huge fan of family, but I just don't think we all need to have 6 children. I think that 1 child or 2 child is perfect. If you stay to 2 children per 2 parents, then you're actually maintaining, you're sustaining the status quo, and from a population perspective, that's better than increasing it.
I don't know what to do because this is natural stream to become this world. So this world is impermanent. Yeah, that's it.
What do you feel about euthanasia?
For humanitarian reasons, I can't see any sort of any problem with it. I don't see much point in letting somebody suffer. I mean, if a horse breaks its leg, we shoot it. If it can't go on, can't have a quality of life, we put an animal down. So it's very tricky. It would have to be voluntary.
Because the world is moving so quickly, and the desire for money, the pace. So then, it's just like the old advertising is, buy this for your family. But if we sort of turn to the earth, we actually studied it. Perhaps you would feel that we should be years. Then we never realise there is a pattern that she follows, she does. If you observe trees, flowers and rocks and stone, anything that's natural, you'll see a pattern that she actually builds something, then she actually chops it to keep something contained. In order for something not to over-exceed for no reason, then she'll end up in some sort of state of bacteria. So, yeah, we should do this. All get back to the earth a little bit. We're not actually getting back to being a tribe, but observing nature much better.
It's not mine. I picked it up obviously from reading and talking to people, and seeing documentaries. I think there's very much an effort being made by, I'm not exactly sure whom, but we have phenomena such as chemtrails. Are you aware of the chemtrails? Okay, so we've got chemtrails that are filtering down toxic materials from the skies. We have substances in our food and in our water which are quite toxic and known to be toxic, and yet they are being allowed to be very much an acceptable part of our society. And of course these things accumulate in our bodies on a subtle level and not so subtle level that over a period of time they deplete the efficacy of the immune system, and the weaker, the younger, and the young and the very old can become victims to things, and there's no way of proving these things. It's not like having mercury poisoning in a particular area and you can avoid that, but for some reason you've gone somewhere and been exposed. We're all exposed to this, so yes, I think population is being dealt with, but just exactly who is doing the dealing, I'm not quite sure.
The fact of the matter is that UK farmers have openly admitted that they get 10 times the price for a crop, a biofuel crop, a GMO biofuel crop, than for a traditional food crop. So why would they want to grow? They say why would they want to grow food crops when they can get higher returns from biofuel crops, especially with the subsidies that are placed in, for them?
Especially with India booming, they're going to come into the job market, and I know from the states where I'm from, people are getting a little bit anxious because these jobs, these numbers, the high-paying jobs are starting to be outsourced, and so all the states are now is just a consumer-based economy. We have no goods, and so with all these populations, soon the Indians, the Chinese, all these other countries that are becoming very educated are going to have a lot of buying power, and as the US dollar is declining, oil's going up, I think people are starting to figure out that we're going to be a little screwed.
We've had examples in the text about a scenario where infanticide was used. Feedback on this?
Very difficult ethically to decide on that one once again. I suppose that in the situation where we were talking about it, those societies saw it as the only way to sustain their to survive. I think technology can help us avoid such necessary things, such things becoming necessary as infanticide.
Super. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, it'll make the world a better place.